Currently, we're under our Class and More Than Mow program. We want to teach landscapers to grow their business outside of the norm. And sometimes when you grow your business, you need additional sales training. Because of this, we are happy to sponsor Chris Heiler of Landscaper Leadership on the Selling in 2015, It's Not 1995 Anymore session. Chris is the founder and president of Landscape Leadership, digital marketing for green industry companies, offering website design and development, content marketing, search engine optimization services, and social media management. Chris speaks at green industry events across the country and writes for industry publications like Lawn and Landscape magazine, and is also an active member of Planet as a consultant. After this session, I hope you'll stop by Class in booth 3052, get a look at our equipment, and learn more about our More Than Mow program. And also, Planet would like it if you could fill out your evaluation forms at the end of this session. So without further ado, Chris Heiler.
Thanks, Linda. You guys hear me okay with this? Is it even on? Good? All right. Do you guys remember the movie Glengarry Glen Ross? Have any of you seen that? Hands, yeah. He came up with the saying, always be closing. Coffee is for closers. You guys remember that? So the movie was actually based on the book. The book was published in 1984, and then the movie was made in 1992. So I want you to think back. I know some of you are pretty young. I want you to think back, say 1985, 1995, kind of that time. Think about how you made buying decisions back then, or even 10 years ago. Like, what was that process when you needed to make a major purchase? What did that process look like? So think about how you might have bought a vehicle, or how you might have bought, let's say like a washer and dryer, for instance. Okay? If I was going to buy a washer and dryer in 1985, 1995, maybe I'd go down to my local Sears store, right? Go into the store, look at the various models, look at the in-store specs, look at the pricing. There would be a salesman in there, right? The salesman would kind of guide me through that process, point me in the right direction. And I'd get my washer and dryer. Now, how would you do that today? What would that look like? So today, if I wanted a washer and dryer, I would go online, I'd probably maybe go to Sears' website, or I'd look at a bunch of different websites. I'd look at different models. I'd look at all the specs online. I'd look at all the pricing online, right? And then, hell, I could probably order the washer and dryer online today. But I still might go into the store, go into the Sears store. But at that point, when I walk into that Sears store, that salesperson is really just an order taker now at this point, right? I really already have my mind made up. When I walk in that store, I know what I want. That salesperson's really not going to influence me, right? At that point, he's really just an order taker. So this whole buying process has changed. Would you agree with that? Yes? Yeah? So this buying process has changed. Consumer habits have changed. And, as companies, we have to keep up with that. So would you agree with consumers today? Would you agree that they have higher expectations? Much higher expectations, right? They want better quality. They want better communication, faster communication, right? You have to get back to them like instantly. Everything has to be better, faster for consumers today. How many of you have ever gone online searching for a product or searching for a service, and you're looking for information on pricing? Right? You want to get a little information about how a service or a product is priced. Anybody? Raise your hand if you've done that. I know a lot of you have. Come on. You've been to Amazon before? Yeah. How many of you have gone online looking for pricing, but then you couldn't find it, and you got frustrated? A bunch of you, right? Okay. How many of you on your company's website talk about pricing? A little bit. Anybody? How many people were frustrated because they didn't find pricing? All of you? How many of you have pricing information on your websites? None? See, that's a problem, right? Okay, customers now, your prospects and consumers now, they really expect to find that information on your site. They don't want to have to pick up the phone and call you. You want them to call you, right? But they don't want to call you. They want to go to your website and they want to find that information right now. So we've got to give that to them. Would you agree that that consumers today are more informed? They're better educated before you ever talk to them? Right? This is an interesting quote here. This was a study from Forrester Research. I really want you to just focus on the second paragraph. But it says buyers might be anywhere from 2/3 to 90% of the way through their journey before they reach out to the vendor. Soak that in for a minute. Okay? Buyers might be anywhere from 2/3 to 90% of the way through their journey before they reach out to a vendor. That means your prospects are doing all of this research before they ever reach out to you. They know a hell of a lot more about you and your company than you know about them. That's how things have changed. This is an interesting study too. This is from a software company called Pardot. It just shows you how people, well, this is business to business companies here, but how they research purchases today. So if you look at this, basically a business to business type company, let's say a property manager or a facilities manager, someone like that, how do they start the research process? How do they start looking for a landscape contractor to manage their properties? 80%, basically 80% will start with a search engine like Google. 80%. 16% will still rely on that personal network, right? That's always going to be the case. You're always going to rely on that personal network. But it's only 16%. And then, 4% rely on, they'll go to a social network first. But think about 10 years ago. How do you think this would have looked 10 years ago? It'd probably be 80%, 85% relied on their personal network. 15% relied on trade shows like this, to do their research and to make buying decisions. It's not like that anymore. Things have changed. How many of you, okay, so raise your hand if you own a laptop or a desktop computer. Everybody, right? Okay, keep your hands up for a minute. Keep your hands up if you also own a smartphone. Keep your hands up if you also own a tablet. Probably about half of you. So probably half of you in here own a smartphone, tablet, and laptop. Probably have TV, right? So we're living in a multi-screen world. That's what, consumers, that's just how we are now. We have multi-screens. I'm a big college football fan, big Notre Dame fan. I was watching the game last weekend, Saturday night. Got the game on the TV. I've got my laptop open. I'm on the Notre Dame message board, listening to what people are saying. I've got my phone. I'm texting my brother, who's back in Michigan, texting about the game. I go to ESPN's website, looking up other scores to see what else is happening. I'm going from, my laptop to the television screen to my phone, and it's just bouncing all over the place. How many of you guys do that kind of thing? You go from screen to screen? Yeah, that's the kind of world we're living in now, right? That's this common consumer behavior. And this was an interesting study from Google, just saying 90% of all media interactions today are screen-based. So, smartphone, tablet, laptop, television, that kind of thing. Where now it's, 10% of interactions are non-screen based, so radio, newspaper, magazine, kind of the traditional stuff. So if you're like a lot of companies in our industry who are, they really rely on the traditional media, if you're really relying on ads in the lifestyle magazines and ads in the newspaper, radio ads, things like that, you're really limiting your reach, because that's not where consumers are anymore. So if that's what you're using, to try to reach your audience, you're going to be in trouble. So we've got to change. We've got to adapt to how, consumers have changed. Would you agree that your prospects find you in more different ways today? Yeah? This was a study from Google from 2011. This was really interesting. You should Google this and look this study up. Zero Moment of Truth study. It might be like zmot.com. You should do a search for it. So this was pretty interesting. They were comparing 2010 and 2011, and they said in 2010, consumers relied on about 5 different sources for research when they were making a buying decision. So they have 5 different sources. All right. The next year, just the next year in 2011, that jumped up to 10. So the number of sources that shoppers and consumers relied on jumped up to 10, and the usage doubled as well. So consumers aren't only using more sources for research, but they're using those sources even more. Does that make sense? When you guys look in the mirror, is it kind of the same habits that you guys have? Same kind of behavior? Let me go back one second. Think about, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, how you got most of your business as a landscaper. Probably word of mouth, right? Get a lot of business word of mouth, referrals. People might have saw your trucks driving around the neighborhoods, so they kind of had that brand awareness because they saw your vehicles. Maybe a friend told them about you, about your business. Well, today, that's changed. You're still getting the referral, right? They still might see your trucks driving around, but now that's not enough for your prospects. The prospects now, they get the referral, they see your trucks. Now they're going to your website, right? They're checking you out. They're looking at your blog. They're looking at your Facebook page. They're going and looking at reviews. They're going to Angie's List, right? Or going to Yelp, seeing what people are saying about your company. So that's what this study is all about. People are using more sources of information to learn about your companies. They're not just relying on the referrals anymore. They're relying on what their friends say. So we have to adapt to that. And that's really the challenge, right? We know buying habits have changed. Our own habits have changed, right? I think we all understand that. Now it's, as a business, what do we do about that? How do we change? And how do we reach this new type of consumer? I mean, that's really the challenge. So that's what I really want to focus on today. So I'm going to go, I know we have to like quarter after. I'll probably go an hour, leave a few minutes for questions. I've got the slide deck that you can have. I'll give you a link to that at the end so you can just download these slides. You don't need to write a bunch of stuff down. I'll give that to you. So as a marketing agency, Linda mentioned we were a marketing agency. We get to work with a lot of really cool companies in this industry. Commercial landscapers, residential landscape design build companies, manufacturers, all sorts of people. And probably the biggest challenge that we see or that we have with these companies is this idea of alignment between the marketing and the sales teams in these companies. And I'll talk more about this later, but most companies in our industry, they're very sales heavy. They might have 10 people on the sales side in their company and maybe one person doing marketing. There's an imbalance there, and there's a real misalignment in how the marketing teams talk with the sales teams, and this is a really big challenge that we have in a lot of the companies that we work with. So I want to talk about how you better align marketing and sales to reach this new type of consumer. And the 3 things we're going to talk about related to this are your people, so your people that you have in marketing and in sales, processes, so your marketing and sales process, and then technology. There's a lot of really cool technology out there today related to marketing and sales, and I want to introduce you to a few of those things. I wish we had more time. I'd love to dive into all of these things real deep, but we're just going to kind of scratch the surface on them. So talking about people, like I said, it's this way with all the companies we work with. And I just talked to a company out in the hallway. I asked, well, how many people do you have involved on the sales side? 7. How many people do you have involved on the marketing side? 1. So there's this imbalance. right? Is it that way in your companies? Raise your hand if it's like that. You're much more heavy on the sales side, right? Yeah, and 10 years ago, 15 years ago, even 5 years ago, that was probably fine. But I think things are shifting now. And I think we need to bring that into balance where we start putting more resources into the marketing side and even that out a little bit. And I'll talk about that. But I want to start with kind of what the modern salesperson looks like and how I think we should start staffing our companies in the future to be able to reach these consumers. This is Dan. He's a salesperson at a software company called HubSpot. He's a good friend of mine. He's a great salesperson and a great example of the type of people we want working for us. So all these characteristics that I'm going to show up here really apply to this guy. And he does a great job. So there's 4 characteristics here that I want to highlight, and this is actually from Brian Halligan, who's the CEO, and he's one of the co-founders of HubSpot, the software company. And he has this acronym, MASH, M-A-S-H. And this is what they look for when they hire salespeople at their company. So he wants people who are motivated. That hasn't changed, right? I mean, we always want salespeople who are motivated. That's never going to change. Ambiverted. This is very interesting. Has anyone heard the term ambivert? You all know introvert, extrovert, right? So an ambivert is someone who shares characteristics of introverts and extroverts, kind of in the middle. And most of us are probably ambiverts. You know, most of us probably aren't one extreme or the other. But the myth in sales has always been, oh, well, we need extroverts, right? Have you guys ever heard that? Oh, if I'm going to hire someone, I'm going to hire an extrovert. I want that guy or that woman with the big personality, you know, the person who's the go-getter, real aggressive, can, go after the deal, not afraid to, go after it. Big personality, right? And then the introvert is always seen as that person who's maybe a little too timid, right? Maybe they can't close the deal because they're not aggressive enough, right? But that's really changed. To succeed in sales today, I think you need a person with characteristics from both of those, and that would be the ambivert. This was a really cool study. You might want to look at this. I've got the links in here for all these studies, by the way. So this is what Adam Grant from the Wharton School of Business did a study. He followed all of these salespeople, all right? And what he found was, you can see what he did. He tied revenue to the level of extroversion. So what you see is the sales kind of peaked there in the middle, and then the more extroverted the person was, the sales actually dipped, which is kind of interesting. Why is that? It's because the guys and girls down here who are really extroverted, they do more of this, right? And not enough of this. They're too busy talking, not doing enough listening. And today, when it comes to sales, you better have people who know how to listen, right? Not just talk. So look at that study. It's a really interesting study. So motivated, ambiverted, sharp. You want smart people, right? And when I think about this, when I think about sharp, I'm thinking about, you don't have to be that smart to pick up a phone and just go down a list and call people. Right? I'm talking about people like Dan who really know how to prospect, really know how to find a good prospect for their company, meet them, get engaged with them on a personal level. Another characteristic I would say, someone who's really smart, or salespeople, they really know their numbers, right? They know what their goals are. They know how many opportunities they need. They know how many deals they need out there. They know how many leads they need, right, to hit their goals. Really sharp people. That's what you need in a salesperson today. But the key here, the big difference, is this last one, helpful. Helpful. You need helpful salespeople. Right? You need people who can teach and educate your prospects. You don't need talkers, you need teachers. I think that's very important that we realize that. You need teachers, not talkers. And you'll see why as we go through this. I'm going to hit on that quite a bit. So those were the 4 characteristics that Halligan had, the MASH. I added a couple more characteristics that I've seen. Hybrids, it's just kind of the word that I use. And these are salespeople that understand the importance of marketing and really know how to collaborate with the people on the marketing side. So maybe that's a salesperson who understands the importance of writing, maybe writing blog posts, maybe shooting video, stuff like that, things that help on the marketing side. That's what I want in a salesperson. If I'm hiring a salesperson today, I want a salesperson who knows how to write, knows how to communicate. That's what I'm looking for. So I call those people hybrids. Tech savvy. We're not in the most savvy industry, or tech savvy industry, but the thing is, there's so much technology out there today that helps us do just a better job on the marketing and sales side. I mean, there's some amazing software out there. So we've got to be hiring people that know how to use this software, and understand the importance of it, to speed up the sales cycle, increase close rates. There's technology out there that can help with all this, and we need to be hiring people who understand how to use it and really embrace it. So this is really this is the person that I'm looking for if I'm hiring salespeople today. Okay, staffing and compensation. So I'm coming back to this quote that I shared with you guys earlier. The second paragraph. Again, buyers might be anywhere from 2/3 to 90% of the way through their journey before they reach out to a vendor. Okay, so what does that look like? The process is going to be something like this. Okay, I decide there might be a need, a problem. So what do? I do some research, right? I do some research, I narrow my choices, then I ask for help. Would you agree that's kind of the process today? Or maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, if I'm buying that washer and dryer, whatever it may be, it's more like, okay, I decide I have a need, my washing machine just broke, now what do? Well, I ask for help. I go to the Sears store. It's not like that anymore. Okay? For a second, I'll pretend I'm a homeowner. Say I'm a homeowner, I'm having my coffee Saturday morning, I walk outside, I'm looking at my lawn. I notice maybe there's some discoloring, a little yellow in the lawn. I'm like, okay, what's that? That's obviously a problem. So what am I going to do? I don't just call up a lawn care company. I go back in the house, I start researching online, right? I realize I may have a need. I need to solve this problem. So I need to do some research. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, is this something I can handle myself? Can I do this work myself and solve the problem? Or do I maybe need to hire a professional to solve this problem? So I start doing research. I decide, I think I can handle this myself. So maybe I go to a Home Depot that afternoon, or I go to the local garden center, and I start looking for the products and things like that I need, right? Then I think, you know what? It's too much. It's too much for me. I don't want to mess with it. I'm going to hire a pro. I don't want to screw it up. I come back home. I start doing more research, right? Now I need to start researching companies. So I find a few lawn care companies online. I look at their websites. I look at reviews. I look to see if they have any pricing information on their website to see what kind of pricing I'm going to be dealing with here. I narrow my choices, and then I call a couple of the companies that sound credible. Then I ask for help. That's the process, right? That's what it looks like today. Would you guys agree with that? I mean, is that how? Okay, I like to see the heads go, yeah. Yes or no. If you don't agree with something, tell me. So here's what's interesting about how we staff our companies. This is what I've been thinking a lot about lately. So most companies in our industry, including the clients we work with, they're all like this. They might have 10 people on the sales side. And that might be, if it's a commercial landscape company, maybe an account manager that's responsible for sales, or a branch manager responsible for sales. It could be a residential landscape designer that's responsible for sales. But typically there's going to be 7, 8, 9, 10 salespeople, and then one overworked, overwhelmed person that deals with marketing. That's the ratio. It's really out of balance. And even that person who's supposed to be doing the marketing is typically involved with sales, kind of a support role. And a lot of times they're supporting the admin staff. They're doing everything but marketing. So there's this real imbalance. Now here's the thing. If you look at the buyer's journey, they're spending all their time over here before they ever talk to a salesperson. Why aren't we putting more resources into this piece over here? Why aren't we putting more time and money, more resources into helping our prospects with their research? We know that's what they're doing. We know they need help. Why aren't we doing that? Why aren't we putting resources into that? Why are we putting all of our resources into the salespeople? You know, I think we need to be putting more resources over here. You know, instead of having one overworked marketing person who's very limited in what he or she can do, let's give them more support. Let's help them create more content that your prospects can find when they're trying to do their research. Does that make sense? Now, paying people, this is always a fun topic too. So compensation. So here's another thing I've noticed. And I'm sure it's probably the same in your business. So salespeople are always paid way more than marketers, right? They close the jobs, right? So they get paid more. I get that. So this was a comparison between a sales director salary and a marketing director salary. Sales director, 90 grand, marketing director, 60 grand. Considerable difference, right? So in companies in our industry that I've seen, sales is always paid way more than marketers. I think this is going to have to start to balance out. We're already seeing this in other industries, and I know our industry lags behind a lot, but this is where it's going. One of the other co-founders of HubSpot, that software I was talking about, his name's Dharmesh Shah. He's a really well-respected thought leader in the marketing and sales world, and I saw him speak a few weeks ago. And one thing he said the salaries of marketers will double within the next 5 years. The salaries of marketers will double in the next 5 years. And he compared it to the way salaries of programmers and developers have just gone through the roof. If you go to college now and you come out with a degree and you're a developer, a programmer, I mean, you're making 100 grand a year. I live in Austin, and I see it all the time. Kids coming out of college making big bucks, buying condos downtown. It's ridiculous. But what Dharmesh was saying is like, those salaries, you better expect to pay double for people in marketing in the future, because it's becoming that much more important. And why is it becoming more important? Why are you going to have to pay more? Because of that. Right there, what we just talked about. So that's the people, it's a process. So another interesting thing I've seen with companies and how they handle their marketing and sales. Marketing always seems to be like a little bit ahead of sales. Marketing always evolves a little faster than sales. Let me put it that way. So like 6 or 7 years ago, you know, you've probably heard of the term inbound marketing. How many of you have heard that term, inbound marketing? Quite a few of you. So it was actually the folks at HubSpot who coined that term, inbound marketing. So it's really the idea of, you know, attracting people to you when they're actually looking for your product or service. You attracting them to you through your helpful content and things like that. It's kind of the opposite of that traditional outbound approach, you know, where you're blasting people with advertising and things like that. So that whole movement really started 6 or 7 years ago, and has really evolved since then. And a lot of companies, and some in our industry, because this is what we do for them, have really grabbed a hold of that, and they've embraced it. So they're doing really fantastic things on the marketing side. But sales has lagged behind that. So here's what's happened, which is really interesting. We see this at all the companies we work with. So I'll give you an example. We work with a company called Neve Pools. It's called Neve Group, but they have a pools division called Neve Pools in New York. And we've been working with them on their inbound marketing for probably 3 to 4 years now. They've gotten a ton of momentum. So what's interesting is, from their website, they generate, on average, about 80 new contacts per month. So they're getting about 2 or 3 new leads every single day through their website, through inbound marketing. So someone might come to their website, read all their great content. They might download one of their ebooks. They have an ebook on there called, it's just a swimming pool design guide. It's like a 20-page ebook, really helpful information for homeowners. Download that, they become a lead, okay? The salespeople don't know what the hell to do with that. It's like, okay, someone filled out this form and downloaded this ebook. Now what do I do? That's what I mean by sales is kind of lag behind, and there's a misalignment. We used inbound marketing to get this new lead. We gave them all this helpful information. They raised their hand saying, yeah, we're interested. Thanks for the information. The salespeople don't really know what to do with it. Like, do we call them? Do we try to get a consultation? What do we do? They don't really understand. So that's kind of the challenge we're facing now with these companies, is really teaching them, what do you do with that lead? Because it's a new kind of lead that companies are dealing with. So we're in this really interesting transition. So it's all about putting these processes in place to deal with this new kind of lead and this new kind of prospect. So I'll use that Neve Pools as an example moving forward so you can see what I'm talking about. So inbound versus outbound. I want to give you some of the characteristics of each. I think you guys will relate to this. So let's start with outbound. So outbound marketing, I like to call it, it's the in-your-face marketing. Television ads, radio, direct mail, all the stuff that's interruptive, right? You're just blasting people with your message. So characteristics, right? It's interruption-based. I'm sitting at my dinner table, someone calls me, they're interrupting me. I don't like it. It can be misleading. Not all the time, but some advertising can be misleading. I know that's shocking, right? I like to say it's seller-centric. Usually advertisements, traditional marketing, it's all about the seller. Got a pretty full-color brochure. Oh, look at us, we're so awesome, blah, 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 award-winning, blah, 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 blah. It's all about us, right? It's not about the buyer. No trust. Advertising has no credibility. If you have no credibility, you have no trust. It's pretty simple. It's untargeted, typically. You know, you place an advertisement in a magazine or a newspaper, you're just blasting it out there to everybody. It's really not that targeted. And then I like to say it has one-time value. You drop $3,000 on a print advertisement in some lifestyle magazine, that's a one-time investment. If you don't get any calls from that, there goes your $3,000, right? It's a one-time investment. Where if you look at inbound marketing, it's permission-based. People are coming to your website because they're finding you through your helpful content. They're downloading an ebook, or they're downloading a case study, something like that. They're signing up for a webinar or a demo, something along those lines. They're giving you permission, right? They're opting in. They want your help, essentially, is what they're saying. So it's very helpful. It's buyer-centric. It's all about the buyer. You have that trust and credibility. You have the trust and credibility because you are helping them, right? You help people, that's how you get their trust. So, that's the bottom line. And then with inbound, it's much more targeted. Just to give you an example of that, a couple of our clients are commercial landscape contractors, and one way we target their audience is just creating a lot of content for their very specific audiences. So that might be, one client, they target like medical facilities, so hospitals and assisted living homes, people like that. So we create content for that specific audience. Another one, they go after a lot of retail properties. So we create content for, property managers of retail properties. So you can be really targeted in how you try to reach your audience. Lifetime value, right? I mentioned outbound had the one-time value. Inbound is all about creating lifetime value with your marketing dollars. Okay? I wrote a blog post, it was either 4 years ago or 5 years ago. It was all about advertising. It was kind of my 10 rules of advertising. And people find that blog post today. It's the most popular page on our website. 5 years later, people are still finding that. They're turning into leads. That's lifetime value. You guys get that? You can write a blog post tomorrow. No one might read it for a year, but 5 years from now, it's still out there. And someone might find it, turn into a lead, and turn into a customer. That's the power of inbound. That's the power of creating helpful content. It lives on your website, so you get that lifetime value. You send a postcard to somebody, goes in the trash, that's not worth much. Would you agree with that? So lifetime value. This is another really big challenge that we have with our clients. But this is really the future, I think, with marketing and sales and getting alignment. It's the idea of getting your salespeople more involved on the marketing side. It's getting them involved with creating that helpful content that your prospects are looking for. I bring this up to clients all the time. Hey, let's get your salespeople involved. Let's get them helping us to create the content. Your salespeople are on the front lines, right? They know the objections. They know all the frequently asked questions that your prospects are asking. And that's the kind of stuff you want to answer in your content, your blog posts, right? You want to answer those common questions. Well, your salespeople are on the front line. They're the ones that have all of that knowledge and information. Let's get them to help us share. So I bring this up to clients. Some buy in, some don't. It's a big sticking point. We talked to a client 2 weeks ago, big company, $30 million company. And I told him, I said, look, we've been working together for about 8 months. I'm very discouraged with the progress we're showing right now because we don't have access to your salespeople. They're not getting back to us. They're not helping us create the content. We're not asking them to write it. We need to access them, right? They need to help us. And we actually suggested, hey, we should make it part of their job to help create content. What did the CEO do? He laughed his ass off. So, oh, you gotta be kidding me. You think I'm gonna ask my salespeople to help you guys write or do writing for you guys? They need to be out selling. They haven't bought in. That's clearly gonna be a problem for us. But that's the mentality of a lot of companies. That's a huge challenge we face. Getting them to buy into the fact that the sales team needs to help on the marketing side. Can you guys see the value in that, of having your salespeople help create this content? Yeah? No? Did anybody say, no, I wouldn't want that? Wouldn't want that? You would want that. Does anybody think, no, I don't want my salespeople involved in any of that? So let me give you a couple really good examples of this, okay? River Pools here. Has anybody heard of River Pools? Richmond, Virginia? Fiberglass pool company. Perfect example of inbound marketing and content marketing. So this company was founded by a guy named Marcus Sheridan and his partner. I think his partner's name is Jason. Co-owners. So about 6 or 7 years ago, these guys were really struggling with their business. They were about to go under. They had always relied on the traditional advertising, the direct mail, ads, all that stuff, some pay-per-click advertising, spending boatloads of money, and they were about to go under. I mean, he was kind of at the end. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. He got turned on to HubSpot. Marcus did. This young software company who just coined the phrase inbound marketing, content marketing. And Marcus is like, all right, I'm doing that because I don't have anything else to do. I'm doing that. Sounds good, sounds smart. So him and his business partner, it's probably, about 7 years ago, they sat down, they wrote out a list of all of the frequently asked questions that they've ever gotten from their customers. They just brainstormed, wrote down, what questions do we get asked? Wrote them all down. And they said, all right, now we're just going to start writing and writing and writing and answering all those questions. And that's what they did. And now, if you go online, you do a search for anything related to pools, or especially fiberglass pools, you're finding these dudes. They dominate. It's because they've created all of that helpful content, and it's content that people are searching for. It's what they want. Right? They figure, oh, if our customers are asking us these questions, there's probably a hell of a lot of other people out there online asking the same questions and searching for the answers. So that's what they did. It completely saved their company. Now they're one of the biggest fiberglass pool companies in the world. Just started a manufacturing division, actually. I mean, they're absolutely killing it. And if you talk to Marcus, it's all because of content marketing. So this is a shot of one of the pages on their website, this Pool 101. So if you look at it, you've got this helpful intro video of Jason, who does all their sales, right? So you have that kind of that personal touch there. And they just have all of these helpful resources on here to help people get started researching pools. So they have a link on here that goes to an article about how much do in-ground pools cost. And that's about a 2,000-word article, all about how they price pools, how much pools cost. They're not afraid to talk about that stuff. They share it all. They're transparent because they know that's what people are looking for. That's what they expect. So put that on your website. Talk about pricing. They talk about pricing. They talk about, they're comparing, well, what's the difference between fiberglass and concrete and vinyl liner pools? Those are questions people have. So they create content around that, and people find them because of that. They created this buying guide here about fiberglass pools. They get something like thousands of downloads of that every single month. Thousands. It's I don't know if it's River Pools. It might be riverpoolsandspas.com. You could probably do a search for swimming pools, and they'll probably come up. So they have this ebook that they created, and literally thousands of people download that thing every month. It's crazy. But let me give you some stats, all right? I like numbers. So Marcus told me last year, 2013, he closed, well, his partner here, closed 95 out of 120 consultations that they went on, sales calls. Went on 120 sales calls, closed 95 of them. That's 79%. That's a good number, right? Would anybody like to close 79% of their sales calls? Yeah. Okay. And not only that, they only give one proposal. So I guess what's typical in the pool industry, what he told me was, he said, okay, typically a pool company is going to give 3, 4, even 5 proposals. Like they have to update and revise their proposals that many times before they can finally close a sale. It's similar for landscaping sometimes, if it's a big project. But he said, no, they give one proposal, and then they close 79% of those. So they've increased their closing rates, right? Everybody likes that. They've sped up the sales process, or the sales cycle, right? And they did it because of their content. So why is it such an easy sale? It's because people come to their website, they educate themselves. They see videos of the guy that's going to be selling them. They get acquainted with the company. They build up all this trust because of the way they teach. And when Jason goes out there to meet with the person, it's like the homeowner, they already know Jason. They already have all their questions answered. They know everything already because they got it from their website. I mean, Jason basically just has to put the proposal in front of them. They're like, okay, yeah, let's do it. How many of you would like that? That would be spectacular, wouldn't it? But I mean, that's a perfect example for you. the power of content marketing, and truly teaching and helping your customers. Right? More teaching and less talking. Here's another example from, this is Neve Group, right? They have that swimming pool division. So what I'm showing you here, this is a screenshot from, we use HubSpot software. So this is a screenshot. This shows you, starting at the bottom here, the activity of one of their leads from their website. So this person came to their website at 4:41, looked at 12 pages on their website for 40 minutes. So this person spent 40 minutes looking at 12 pages on their website. I also know that the person downloaded that swimming pool design guide I told you about. You just don't see it on here, but they downloaded that. They did all this before they ever talked to anyone at Neve Pools. Before they ever reached out to a salesperson. So can you see where content plays such a huge role? Now that person did eventually reach out to Neve Pools. They scheduled a consultation. That person eventually spent 120 grand on a pool and landscaping project. I would like to think that this played a really key role in that. You know, educating them, building that trust. You know, he did his research, felt like there was trust there, called up Neve, said, hey, let's talk. Come out to my house, let's talk about my project. It's powerful stuff. Okay, so that's process. Okay, now we're good on time. So let's talk about some technology. Overall technology is really advanced, right? I mean, it's amazing some of the stuff we have out there today. On the marketing and sales side, there's some crazy, crazy technology available for salespeople and marketers. So I just want to show you a few of these things. Some of them are kind of high level, but I want you thinking about these things because these are what some other industries are doing, and all of this stuff is eventually going to apply to all of you guys in here, okay? So marketing automation software. You might have heard this term. It's becoming more and more popular. So when I mention software like HubSpot, HubSpot's considered marketing automation software. You might hear the term all-in-one software or all-in-one marketing software. That's what I'm talking about here. So essentially, you have a piece of software that has all the marketing tools that you need in it. So like with HubSpot. You can build your website on HubSpot. You can do all your blogging through HubSpot. You can do all your social media stuff through HubSpot. You can do all your email marketing through HubSpot. You can get all your analytics through HubSpot. That's all-in-one marketing software. We love HubSpot, by the way, if you couldn't tell. We're actually partners with them, full disclosure. But there's others on the market, too, that do a similar thing. Not a ton of companies in our industry are using this yet. All of our clients use HubSpot. It's becoming more and more popular. But the real advantage to using software like this is all of your tools are in one place, in one dashboard. And when you have that, everything's tied together. So you don't have your website hosted over here on WordPress and you're doing your email marketing with Constant Contact and you've got Google Analytics for reporting and you're using something else for social media and none of them are tied together, right? So your analytics aren't any good. When everything is under one software platform, everything's integrated. You get all that data in one place. And I don't want to get too geeky on you, but it's some amazing stuff that you can do. So I just want to show you a few things that you can do with software like this that are more related to sales. So, and like I said, some of this is a little high level, but I want you to know that this is available. And these are things that we're really trying to implement in 2015 for our clients. Most of them are not at this level yet, but this is kind of the next step we're trying to take with them. So lead scoring. Someone comes to your website, let's say Neve Pools again. Someone comes to the Neve Pools website, they download that swimming pool design guide, right? They give up their name, their email address, their phone number. They get the design guide. we can score that lead. We can give them a grade. We can grade them based on certain criteria. How many web pages did they look at? How long were they on the site? How many things did they download? How many emails did they open? All this stuff. Based on that criteria, you can grade them, give them a score. With Neve Pools, if they're getting 80 contacts a month, 2 or 3 new leads a day, that becomes important because the salespeople have to be able to prioritize, right, who they follow up with and how fast. Because remember, you're trying to speed up the sales process or speed up that sales cycle. So if you can create, or if you can do some lead scoring, that helps the salespeople prioritize who they're calling first, who they're going to follow up with first. Lead intelligence, like what I showed you there, we call that lead intelligence. You can actually see what people are looking at on your website. You can see what emails they've opened. You can see how much time they've spent on your site. It's extremely valuable to have that lead intelligence for your salespeople. If your salesperson is going to pick up the phone and call somebody, don't you think it's really helpful if they know what pages that person looked at on your website? What video that person watched on your website? What they downloaded from your site? That helps you start the conversation in a really smart way. And you can be more efficient with your time. Most of this software, like HubSpot, has what are called lead revisit notifications. This is really cool, kind of creepy. But so let's say with Neve Pool, someone comes, they download that swimming pool design guide. Let's say one of the salespeople calls that person, doesn't really get anywhere with them. Maybe it's just not good timing. Can't get a consultation scheduled. But let's say 3 months later in the spring, that same person comes back to their website. That salesperson gets a little notification pops up on their screen. Hey, so-and-so is back on your website. They're on this exact page right now. That salesperson can pick up the phone. Yeah, creepy, right? Can pick up the phone or shoot an email. Hey, I was just thinking about you. Whatever happened, I know you downloaded this ebook a few months ago when we talked for a minute. Whatever happened with that? Pretty cool stuff. Lead nurturing. So lead nurturing is when you're able to send like a series of follow-up emails, automated emails. So we do that with Neve. Someone downloads the swimming pool design guide, they'll receive a series of, I think maybe it's 3 emails over the course of a week or 2 weeks. And it's just sending them helpful information about the swimming pool process, construction process. That's lead nurturing. It's just another way to give your prospects and new leads more helpful information and educate them and do it in an automated way. Smart content, this is cool. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but basically you can create your website with smart content where your customers will see one thing and a brand new visitor will see something totally different. So based on their life cycle stage, we call that. So with Neve Pools, let's say if you're a customer of Neve Pools already, you go to their website, you might see a bunch of information on pool maintenance. Or if you're a first-time visitor to Neve Pools, it might all be about new pool construction. So you could actually change out the content based on life cycle stage of your visitors. Pretty cool. We're just getting started with that right now. It's cool stuff. I don't want to get too much into that. CRM. How many of you guys have a CRM for your business? Customer relationship management. A few of you? Okay. CRM is so important. I think every company should have a CRM. One-person companies with 2,000 people, you all need a CRM. Essentially, it's a way to organize and better manage all of your contacts, right? So you keep all of your customers, prospects, all of those people in one place. It's just a better way to organize them. And it's important. You guys all have employees that come and go, and so you want all of that information and history of your customers in one place. So CRM is really important. And like it shows here, this is showing HubSpot CRM, but you track your contacts. You can track your deals that you have out there, track all your proposals out there. You should be able to do all of that within a CRM, so you always have a view of your sales pipeline, so you know what's going on. It's kind of important, right? You can even set tasks, reminders, things like that associated with deals that you have going on. So, you need to set a reminder to follow up with somebody about the proposal you sent a week ago. All of that should be done in your CRM. So it's a really valuable tool for your marketing and sales team. I mean, it's invaluable. Today, if you're not using a CRM, you're missing out. You need it to really scale your company as you grow. So this was a study by HubSpot here. It came out a few weeks ago. They surveyed, I think it was 3,000 businesses, and this included a lot of small businesses too. Not just enterprise businesses, but some small businesses. This is kind of hard to read, but so it says, what tool or system do you use to organize your lead and customer data? So just over 40% of companies surveyed use a CRM. So again, raise your hands again if you do use a CRM. Maybe 20%, I would say, in here. Okay. This says custom database. This is marketing automation software. But what I thought was interesting are these last two, because I think this is what's typical for our industry, what we see. It says informal, I can't really read it. Basically, Microsoft Excel or Outlook, or like QuickBooks. How many of you guys have basically managed your contacts in Outlook or QuickBooks and Excel maybe? Yeah, pretty common for our industry, very common. Or physical files or folders. All your information is just stuffed in a folder somewhere. How many of you guys do that? Yeah, that's common. So right here though, from the survey, you can see really it's about 20 to 25% of these companies are still doing this. So I just want to show you, as an industry, we're behind when it comes to this stuff. We really are. We got to catch up. This is the last thing I want to talk about, is sales acceleration software. This is a whole new category of software starting to pick up a little buzz. Has anybody heard that term, sales acceleration software? Essentially what it is software for salespeople to speed up the sales process and help you close deals faster. It's basically what it's for. Close more deals and do it faster. So 3 of the things that we use these all in-house at our company, and we're getting set to implement Sidekick with our clients in 2015. This is a really exciting one. So Sidekick, it's actually $10 a month is all it is. So I'd play around with it. Works with Outlook, works with pretty much all CRM. So anyway, so Sidekick is it's like a plugin that works with your email, Outlook, Gmail, whatever you're using. Again, this is a little creepy too. So you send an email through Gmail. Maybe I email a prospect or I email a client. I can track when he or she opens that email. That's pretty valuable for a salesperson. You send a contract to someone, you want to know, because you're always wondering, well, did they even get it? Did they open it? Did they look at it? Well, with Sidekick, you get a notification when they actually open the email. You'll also get a notification when they click on a link in the email. So if you send them a blog post to read or something like that, you'll get a notification. Yeah, I'll come back to you, okay? I'll be done in a second. So that's just one thing it allows you to do. You can actually schedule your emails. So if you're working on a Saturday night or something like that, and you're sending an email to a prospect, you could actually schedule it maybe for Monday morning or Tuesday morning. And then the other cool thing is, if you are using a CRM, you can copy all of your emails to your CRM. So if I'm writing an email in Gmail, I just click a little button, and that email will get copied over to my CRM software. So there's a record of it in there. That's really, if you start using a CRM and all your salespeople are using it, that's really valuable, that feature. So Sidekick is really exciting. It does some really crazy stuff. So if you got $10 to spare, check it out. TimeTrade's a cool one. You know when you need to schedule a meeting with someone on the phone or in person, you get all that back and forth email. Oh, hey, can you meet Friday? Sure. What time? I don't know, you pick the time. About 3. Sure. I mean, it's a pain in the ass, right? It takes forever. So TimeTrade, this is the best $50 I think I've ever spent. So it's like $50 a year. So you create your own calendar of availability. Say, I want to meet at these specific times during the week. You just pick your own times. And then when someone says, hey, I want to meet with you, you just send them the link, say, hey, here's my availability, just pick a day and time that's convenient for you. They click the link, they pick it, and you get a notification. It saved me a ton of time. It sounds so simple, but once you start using it, you'll see, oh my God, this saves me so much time from that back and forth. And a cool thing that you can do with this, we just did this with a client. If you go to Handy Andy Outdoors, okay, we did this. We created a quote request page for them, or a consultation page. So a homeowner can go to their website, fill out a form to request a consultation. Once they fill out the consultation form, they get redirected to another page where their TimeTrade calendar is actually embedded on that page. So then if the person wants a consultation related to maintenance, they pick that calendar. If they want a consultation related to design build, they pick that calendar. And then they pick the day and time that they want to meet. So the homeowner does all of that without picking up the phone and calling Handy Andy's. Like, all that's just happening automatically. And Handy Andy just gets the notification saying, you've got a consultation scheduled now for Tuesday at 4 o'clock. So it's all automated. So again, it's all about speeding up the sales cycle. So TimeTrade, it's cool. Quote Roller, I've been using this for maybe 3 months. Very cool. I think I might pay $39 a month, I think, for it, but they also have plans, I think maybe $19 a month. So Quote Roller allows you to put together really professional and polished proposals for your customers and do it fast. Like, I used to create proposals and contracts in Excel, and they looked awful. They're terrible. I hated doing it. I hated taking the time. It was just a pain. And then I found Quote Roller. And you create templates, and you just kind of drag and drop, and you can create proposals like that really fast. It's awesome. And there's another creepy thing. You email the proposal to your prospect, and you'll get a notification when they open it. So it'll say, so-and-so is viewing your proposal right now. I did this with you, actually. It'd say, Chase just opened your proposal. And Chase viewed this page of the proposal, this page of the proposal, spent this much time on this page of the proposal, and then you get another notification saying, Chase just signed the proposal, because you can add your digital signature. So when you did all that, I got an email for all that. It's pretty wild, but it saves so much time. I mean, it was so easy. It was just, I was blown away by it when I started using this. I got that email. Oh my God, you signed it already? Awesome. So this is the last thing I wanted to talk about right here. This is an app I'm really excited about. Has anyone seen this? Describe it. Very new, very similar to Quote Roller, but this is specifically for companies in our industry. Same kind of functionality that I just talked about with Quote Roller, only it takes it up a notch because it's for our industry. Full disclosure, I'm kind of an advisor for these guys. It's a startup, but I'm really excited about it. A problem that we have in our industry is you'll get calls for a lot of jobs that are, maybe it's a $3,000 little front yard renovation, or someone wants 7 or 8 trees, a couple trees taken out, 7 trees put in, maybe redo a front walk. So these smaller projects, $3,000 to $10,000, $12,000, that can be very profitable. It's just kind of a pain in the butt, working up a design and all that stuff for them, and then getting them a proposal. And by the time, like at least when I used to do it, I'd take forever to get back to them. And then by the time I did get back to them, they'd already hired somebody. This, you can take an iPad, walk around the yard with the person, and take some pictures of the yard, start annotating. Okay, we're going to add a tree here, we're going to add this here, and it builds the pricing for you as you walk around the yard. So when you're done, you say, okay, Mrs. Homeowner, here's everything we talked about. Boom, 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 boom. Here's the price. You can sign right here. And you can actually, we can bill your credit card right now too, by the way. Take a deposit. So it's just a really easy way to put together a really polished and professional proposal instead of sketching out something on a notebook page, right? And then having kind of a crappy looking proposal that you just print out from QuickBooks. I used to do that. It's just a more polished way of presenting yourself and selling your work. And it has that same functionality. You email it to somebody, you can see when they open it, you can see what pages they viewed, they can sign it, you can take their payment right there too if you want. Very cool. It's in beta right now, so I mean you can test it. You can test it out if you want. They have a trial too. I think it's a 15-day free trial. So that's pretty cool. And price, I think, is $20 a month, something like that. So that's pretty sweet. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about. If you want the slide deck right there, you can download it from that page on my site. I'll leave that up. If you guys have any questions, fire away. Rob, did you have a question?
I was asking about the Sidekick. So,
Yeah.
you get a notification that they open an email. Do they have to click like a read receipt or anything like that?
No. Nope.
Or anything else that works that way, or do they do something like that?
There's another one out there called Yesware, Yesware.
You just can't do that for Outlook.
Oh, for Outlook? Sidekick works with Outlook.
You have to do some
What kind of software?
and you have to use something like Sidekick.
Yeah. Yeah, but Sidekick will work with Outlook. It works for Gmail. It works for Apple's email. What is that? I don't even remember what it is.
Real Green's coming out with something like that.
Who is? Real Green is?
Yeah. They're going to roll it out at their users conference.
Ah, cool. Yes.
Okay, antiquated. We're getting more and more requests to submit proposals, packages, presentations online. We got creative brochures, things like that. It's hard to convert.
Yeah.
Any of those apps with Foco or anything like that?
Okay, really good question. So thanks for coming, guys, if you want to sneak out of here. Thanks for coming, appreciate it. Okay, good question. So he's asking, more and more prospects want their proposals online, right? So there's less in person. So if you have brochures and things like that, how do you get them in front of people? That app I showed you there, Describe It, you can actually build in a portfolio. I don't know what kind of company you are. Oh, okay, landscaper. So you can actually have your portfolio on there. So when they're reviewing it, they can actually see pictures of your work and stuff like that. So you don't have to sit there and flip through a book with them. I mean, does that answer your question? Kind of? I can try again.
Yeah, but just, everything they normally would present, get that into an email.
Does anybody else have that problem? More and more of their customers or prospects, they just want to deal online, basically. You don't have as much face-to-face with them, right? Send me the proposal via email.
Well, you give it to X manager, he's got to send it to yours.
Right. That's why we got to get more tech savvy. We got to learn these tools. That's what the buyer wants. They don't want to pick up the phone and talk to us. Just send me the proposal. That's how it is. We got to play that game.
I think we have a habit of giving customers too much information. I don't know if it's ego, I don't know if it's I'm the smartest guy in the room type of deal. A lot of times they want a price and just a brief explanation, and this is kind of from the lawn care side of things. They just want a price and what are you going to do for me?
Yeah. He said.
Pare it down as much as you can is what
Yeah. He's saying sometimes we just give out too much information when people don't really want that much. Right, with a quote. But I would say sometimes we give out way too much information, but it's usually way too much information about ourselves. Oh, hey, we won these awards, blah, blah, blah. We're certified, we're insured. And it's like, I don't really care, you know? Can I trust you? That's really all I care about. And so you're right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's a really good, yeah. That's right. Yep. Our prospects today know way more about us than we know about them. Our salespeople have to understand that and understand how to work with that, right? I mean, it's just, it's different. Yeah. Sure. Practically, how to talk about pricing in a practical way without giving away everything? Yeah. Right. 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 Okay. Good. That's always a good question. And then someone always asks, well, and I don't really want our competitors to see our pricing either, right? So I would never worry about your competitors when it comes to this kind of thing. It's the consumers, the homeowners, they want to know the pricing, so you got to give them some information. Who cares if your competitor can see it? Don't worry about that. But you don't have to say, you know, brick paving is $12 a square foot, and you know, you don't have to like lay it out like that. If you're a lawn care company, you can do some of that. You can say, hey, we have a lawn care program that's $49 a month. Design build's a little trickier. But what I talk about when I say share pricing, talk about like what goes into pricing a project. So so a good topic of a blog post would be, how much does an outdoor kitchen cost? And then talk about, well, how much can you spend on a grill and all the equipment? How much should you spend if you want to create some kind of overhead structure? What about the paving? What kind of cost considerations are involved in that? That's kind of what I mean when I talk about pricing. Not, oh, you have to spend $30,000 on this. It's just more, just try to give them helpful information. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, I know. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no way you're going to give exact pricing, but you just want to be able to help people. That swimming pool design guide we did with Neve, we talked about, well, how much can you spend on a swimming pool? You know, and we didn't say it's going to cost you 80 grand. We just kind of said, hey, these are the pricing considerations and things to think about. Just real basic. Yeah.
I get what you're saying. We're in the design build firm too, and there's so many variables. But I think we were just talking, we said, maybe we just do like a range. Some people, most of our work now is rehab because of what's happened in the last several years. So if you take a picture of somebody's front yard, for example, and you show a before and after picture, and just do a range, like, all right, this might cost you between $5,000 and $7,000. You know, maybe just show a few different ranges, because a lot of my clients have no idea. They haven't done landscaping in 15 years. They
Yep.
have no clue what it's going to cost.
Yeah. The other thing that does too, pricing like that, even if you're just saying, you know, a bluestone patio could cost, you know, $10,000 to $15,000. It qualifies people. That's one reason some of our clients like to talk about pricing, is it qualifies people. And then that person sees that, oh, that's probably out of my league. You know, I'm going to go get concrete instead, so they just move on, and they never have to really engage them. So again, it's all about being smart and having a real efficient sales process. Good? You bet. Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate it.